On Earth, life had become a struggle. Years ago, a great disaster struck that cut humanity off from the stars. The once bustling cities now stood silent, their streets empty. People remembered the times when they could travel to other planets, visit distant worlds, and meet strange beings. But now, all of that seemed like a distant dream. The Galactic Council, a group of powerful alien leaders, believed that humans were stuck forever. They thought Earth was just a failed experiment, a place where nothing important could ever happen again. In a small lab hidden deep in the mountains, a group of scientists worked tirelessly. Among them was Dr. Mira Alvey, a brilliant mind who refused to accept that humanity was lost. Mira had a vision. She believed that if they could create a new technology, they could change everything. She and her team were developing a device called the phase shifter. This device had the potential to make Earth invisible to the rest of the galaxy. If they succeeded, humanity could escape its prison and explore the universe once more. But life on Earth was not easy. Food was scarce, and many families struggled to make ends meet. People had grown used to living in fear, their hopes slowly fading. Every day, they listened to the news about the Galactic Council's latest meetings, where alien leaders mocked humans. They laughed about how humans had failed to adapt and grow. They thought humans were weak, stuck in a dying world with no way to escape. Mira knew the Council's opinions of humanity. They believed that humans were no threat and would never be able to rise again. This only fueled her determination. Every night, she and her team worked late into the dark, trying to make their idea a reality. They faced countless setbacks, but Mira refused to give up. She knew that if they could just create the phase shifter, they could show the galaxy that humans were still capable of greatness. One evening, as Mira sat in her lab, she looked out at the night sky. Stars twinkled far away, and for a moment she felt a sense of longing. "We will reach you again," she whispered, her voice full of determination. She turned back to her workbench, surrounded by wires, screens, and strange machinery. Her team worked in silence, their faces lit by the glow of the screens, each person lost in their thoughts and hopes. Meanwhile, news spread quickly about the Galactic Council's plans. They were holding a meeting to discuss humanity's future. Aliens from various planets gathered, their voices filled with laughter and scorn. "What should we do about Earth?" one leader asked, a scaly creature with bright blue skin. "It's a dead planet. Why not just get rid of it?" Others nodded in agreement, their eyes glinting with cruel amusement. "Humans are nothing but a nuisance. They are stuck, and they will never change," another leader added, his voice booming. "We should show them our power. A quick end to their suffering would be a mercy." Back in her lab, Mira received a transmission from one of her spies in the Galactic Council. "They are planning to destroy Earth," the voice crackled over the communicator. "They think you are weak. They believe you will never fight back." Mira's heart raced as she listened. She looked around at her team, their faces filled with fear and uncertainty. This was their moment. They had to act. "We cannot let them do this," she said, her voice steady. "If we succeed with the phase shifter, we can show them that humans are not stuck. We are ready to fight for our future." The team nodded, their determination growing. They understood the stakes. It was now or never. They would either prove the Council wrong or be wiped out. As the meeting in the Galactic Council continued, Mira and her team knew they had to work faster than ever. The fate of humanity rested on their shoulders, and they were ready to change the story of Earth forever. With the phase shifter nearly complete, hope flickered in the hearts of the scientists. They would not give up. They would rise again, and the galaxy would know that humans were still a force to be reckoned with. The next morning, the air in the lab buzzed with excitement. Dr. Mira Alvey and her team gathered around a large table covered with blueprints and strange devices. They had worked day and night, and today was special. Today, they believed they could finally bring their idea to life. The phase shifter was close to being ready. Mira stood at the head of the table, her eyes shining with determination. "Everyone, we are on the edge of something incredible. The phase shifter will make Earth invisible to the Galactic Council. They won't see us coming!" Her voice filled the room with energy. The team leaned in closer, eager to hear her plans. "Imagine," Mira continued, "if we could phase shift the entire planet. We could hide from their prying eyes, escape their judgment, and explore the universe freely." The team was captivated. They could see a future where humans were not weak or stuck, but powerful and free. With renewed hope, the team got to work. They set up machines and connected wires, their hands moving quickly as they prepared for the final test. Hours passed, filled with the sounds of buzzing equipment and the chatter of excited voices. But in the back of Mira's mind, she couldn't shake the feeling of urgency. They needed to finish before the council decided to act. Meanwhile, the Galactic Council met again. Alien leaders from across the galaxy gathered, their faces grim. They were growing more anxious about Earth. "Why can't we find them?" asked a tall alien with skin like shimmering silver. "They should be easy to spot. They are weak. Perhaps they are planning something?" suggested a small green creature. "We should send a fleet to search for them. We cannot let them stay hidden." The leaders nodded, their voices rising in anger and concern. They believed that humanity was a minor threat, but the unknown frightened them. They could not understand that humans were not as weak as they thought. Back in the lab, Mira and her team finished their preparations. They gathered around the phase shifter, a large device made of metal and wires. It looked like a complicated machine, but Mira knew it held the key to their freedom. "Let's do this!" she said, her heart racing. The team worked together, inputting data and making last-minute adjustments. They connected the final wires, and the machine hummed to life. "All systems are ready!" shouted one of the scientists, a young man named Raj. Mira felt a rush of excitement. "This is it! Let's begin the test!" She took a deep breath and pressed a large red button on the control panel. The machine whirred and glowed brightly. Energy pulsed through it, and the air crackled with power. The phase shifter began to work, sending waves of energy into the ground. The room filled with a soft light, and everyone watched in awe. "It's working!" Mira exclaimed. The walls of the lab seemed to shimmer, and for a moment, everything felt unreal. Suddenly, the light intensified. The team shielded their eyes as the energy surged. Mira felt a wave of fear wash over her. "Is it too much?" she shouted. But the team quickly checked the readings. "No, we're still stable," Raj called back, his face lit up with excitement. As the light dimmed, the team could hardly believe their eyes. They had successfully phase-shifted a small object, a metal cube, making it vanish from sight. The lab erupted in cheers. They had done it. But Mira's mind raced with thoughts of what this meant for humanity. They were no longer just scientists in a hidden lab. They were warriors ready to fight back. After the initial excitement faded, Mira gathered her team again. "We must keep this a secret," she urged. "If the Council learns about our success, they will try to destroy us. We must prepare for what comes next." The team nodded, their faces serious. They understood the weight of their actions. They were no longer just scientists. They were the last hope for humanity. With the phase shifter, they could prove to the galaxy that humans were not stuck. They were ready to rise again. As the sun set over the mountains, Mira gazed out the window, her heart full of hope. The stars twinkled in the distance, reminding her of the worlds they could reach. She knew they were on the brink of a new era. Together, they would show the galaxy that humans were strong, and they would not be forgotten. The sun rose over the mountains, casting a golden light over the lab. Inside, Dr. Mira Alvey and her team were buzzing with excitement and nerves. Today was the day they would test the phase shifter on a larger scale. The team was ready to phase shift Earth itself. "Are we really ready for this?" Raj asked, glancing nervously at the large machine. He could feel the weight of their task pressing down on him. "This isn't just a test anymore. We're talking about shifting an entire planet." Mira turned to him, her eyes filled with determination. "Yes, we are ready. We have come too far to back down now. We must show the Galactic Council that we are not trapped. We can escape!" Her words filled the room with energy, pushing away any doubts. The team gathered around the control panel, each person focused and determined. Mira pressed a few buttons on the console, running through the final checks. "All systems are functioning. We have enough power," she said. The machine hummed with life, its lights blinking in a rhythm that matched the hearts of the scientists. Outside, the air was still. People went about their day, unaware of the monumental event about to unfold. They continued to struggle, but hope was beginning to stir. If Mira and her team succeeded, everything would change. As they prepared, Mira activated a large screen displaying Earth's location. It showed a map of their planet with bright dots marking cities and towns. "This is our home," she said, pointing to the glowing dots. "We will make it invisible to the galaxy." With the team ready, Mira took a deep breath. "Here we go. On my count, we activate the phase shifter." The team nodded, their eyes fixed on the machine. 3, 2, 1. Activate! Mira pressed the button and the machine roared to life. A wave of energy pulsed from the device, radiating outward. The ground beneath them shook slightly as the phase shifter sent vibrations through the earth. They watched in awe as the map on the screen began to shimmer and fade. Suddenly, the room was filled with blinding light. Everyone shielded their eyes as the energy enveloped them. Mira's heart raced. Would they really make Earth invisible? As the light intensified, she felt a rush of fear mixed with excitement. They had committed to this moment, and there was no turning back. Then, just as quickly as it started, the light faded. Mira opened her eyes slowly, and what she saw took her breath away. The world outside looked the same, yet different. Did it work? Someone whispered, hardly daring to speak. Mira rushed to the window and stared outside. The city was unchanged. People walked the streets, completely unaware. But when she checked the console, her heart soared. It worked! We did it! Earth is now invisible to the Galactic Council. Cheers erupted in the lab. The team hugged and danced, their joy filling the space. They had achieved the impossible. They were no longer trapped on a dying planet. They had taken their first step toward freedom. But then, Mira remembered the warning from the spy. The Galactic Council would not take this lightly. We have to stay cautious, she reminded everyone. They will notice our absence soon enough. We need to prepare for what comes next. As the celebration continued, Mira turned to her screens. She could see the Council still meeting in their grand chamber. She knew they would be discussing Earth's strange disappearance. The Council was filled with powerful aliens, and she could almost hear their frustrated voices. What is happening? A tall alien leader demanded, his silver skin shimmering in anger. Earth should be right here. We cannot allow them to hide from us. The council members began to argue, their voices rising in panic. Mira felt a surge of pride. They had created chaos in the hearts of their enemies. Earth was hidden, but for how long? The team gathered again, their smiles still bright, but their expressions serious. What's our next step? Raj asked, looking to Mira for guidance. Now that we are invisible, we must build our defenses, Mira replied. We need to prepare for their response. If they come looking for us, we must be ready. With renewed determination, the team returned to their work. They began brainstorming ways to use their phase-shifting technology to protect Earth. They had taken a giant leap, but the battle was just beginning. As the day turned to night, Mira stood by the window looking out at the stars. The darkness of space felt welcoming, a reminder of the adventure that awaited them. They had shifted Earth into a new reality, and now they were ready to show the galaxy that humans were not stuck. They were alive, fighting for their future, and nothing would hold them back. Days passed since the phase shifter made Earth invisible. Dr. Mira Alvey and her team worked tirelessly in the lab, preparing for the inevitable response from the Galactic Council. Their plan was simple but bold. They would not just hide, they would take action to ensure the safety of their planet. Mira gathered her team once again. The excitement from their initial success had faded, replaced by a sense of urgency. We must strengthen our defenses, she said, her voice firm. The Council is angry and confused. They will send ships to search for us, and we need to be ready to protect ourselves. Raj raised his hand, his eyes bright with ideas. What if we used the phase-shifting technology to create a shield around Earth? We could make it even harder for them to find us. The team murmured in agreement, realizing the potential of Raj's idea. That's brilliant, Mira exclaimed. A phase-shifting shield could not only protect us, but also hide our energy signatures. We would become a ghost in the galaxy. The team quickly set to work. They needed to design a new device that could generate this protective shield. Mira split the team into groups, assigning each person a specific task. Some would work on the technology, while others would focus on monitoring the Galactic Council's movements. Hours turned into days, filled with the sounds of machines whirring and voices brainstorming. Mira felt a sense of purpose wash over her. They were no longer just scientists in a lab. They were warriors preparing for battle. Meanwhile, the Galactic Council was in turmoil. The leaders gathered again, their frustration boiling over. "We cannot allow this to continue," shouted a short alien with fiery orange skin. "Earth has vanished, and we must find them." A tall alien with dark leathery skin slammed his fist on the table. "We underestimated them. They are smarter than we thought. But we will send a fleet to search every corner of the galaxy until we find them." Back in the lab, Mira's team was making progress. They had successfully designed the shield, and now it was time to test it. Mira stood in front of the machine, her heart racing with anticipation. "Are we ready?" she asked, looking at her team. "Yes!" they shouted in unison, their faces filled with determination. Mira pressed a button and the machine hummed to life. A wave of energy rippled through the air, creating a shimmering barrier around the lab. The shield was not visible to the naked eye, but they could see its effects on the readouts. "It's working," Raj called out, excitement in his voice. As the team celebrated, Mira turned her attention to the screens displaying the Galactic Council's discussions. The Council was growing more desperate, their ships preparing for a search. "They're going to find us soon," she said, her voice serious. "We need to move quickly." With the shield now operational, the team focused on their next step, preparing a fleet of ships to defend Earth. Mira knew they had to act fast. If the Council sent a fleet to Earth, they would need to show strength. They modified small cargo ships, adding phase-shifting technology to help them evade detection. The team worked day and night, fueled by determination and adrenaline. They transformed each ship into a weapon for the humans' defense. Finally, the day arrived for the first test flight. Mira gathered her team in the launch bay. "Today we take a stand," she said, her voice strong. "We will show the galaxy that we are not just hiding. We are ready to fight for our home." The team climbed aboard the ships, their hearts pounding with excitement and fear. Mira took the lead in the main ship, feeling a mix of pride and responsibility. She was not just a scientist now, she was a captain, leading her people into a new era. As the ships powered up, Mira checked the status on her screen. "All systems ready for launch. Phase-shifting technology is activated." The team cheered, their spirits high. Mira nodded and gave the command. "Let's go!" One by one, the ships lifted off the ground, soaring into the sky. As they climbed higher, Mira looked down at Earth, now protected by their phase-shifting shield. As they reached the edge of the atmosphere, Mira glanced at the radar. Suddenly, blips appeared, Galactic Council ships. "They're here!" she shouted, adrenaline coursing through her veins. The fleet of ships from the Council was approaching Earth, scanning the area for any signs of life. "We must remain hidden," Mira commanded. "Prepare to activate the shield on my mark." The tension in the cockpit was palpable. Mira watched the Council ships move closer, their powerful engines glowing like angry suns. The fate of Earth rested on their shoulders, and they would not let their planet down. "Now!" she shouted, activating the shield. The ships shimmered and faded from view, just as the Council ships passed by. Mira and her team held their breath, watching as the Council continued their search, oblivious to the humans hiding right under their noses. They had taken action, and now they were ready to fight. Earth would remain hidden, but the humans were not without their own plans. Together, they would show the galaxy that they were no longer helpless. They were strong, and they would defend their home at all costs. The tension in the air was thick as Dr. Mira Alvi and her team watched the Galactic Council ships scanning the area. They held their breath, their hearts racing. This was the moment they had prepared for, the culmination of their hard work and determination. As the Council ships moved past their hidden fleet, Mira felt a wave of relief wash over her. They had successfully evaded detection, but she knew this was just the beginning. The Council would not give up easily. They would return, and when they did, Earth needed to be ready. "Great job, everyone," Mira said, her voice full of pride. "We did it! Now we need to develop our next steps." The team shared excited smiles, but they also knew that the threat was far from over. "Should we start planning our next phase of action?" Raj asked, glancing at the radar to ensure no Council ships were lingering. "We need to make sure we are ready for when they come back." Mira nodded. "Yes, we can't just hide forever. We need to find a way to strike back and make them think twice before they come looking for us again." As they returned to the lab, Mira gathered everyone for a meeting. "We have come so far," she began, her voice steady, "but we must now focus on how to defend ourselves. We have the technology to protect our planet, but we also need to think offensively." The team brainstormed ideas, tossing around various strategies. They discussed ways to use their phase-shifting technology in a new way. The goal was to create confusion among the Council ships and strike when they least expected it. After hours of discussion, Raj suggested, "What if we could set a trap? We can lure them into a specific area and ambush them when they come close." The room fell silent, and Mira's eyes lit up. "That could work. If we create a false signal that looks like Earth, we can draw them in." With a plan forming, the team got to work. They needed to create a decoy, something that would look like Earth but would be empty. They would use phase-shifting technology to make it appear real. If they could confuse the Council long enough, they might have a chance to fight back. Days passed as they built the decoy. Mira watched as her team became more skilled and confident. They were no longer just scientists, they were fighters. Together, they crafted a plan that could change the fate of Earth. Finally, the day arrived for the ambush. Mira stood in front of her team, their faces filled with determination. "Today, we show the galaxy that humans are not to be underestimated," she declared. "We will defend our home and send a message to the Galactic Council. They cannot take us lightly." The team boarded their ships, adrenaline surging through their veins. They flew to the designated area, the decoy planet glowing brightly on their screens. It looked just like Earth, blue oceans and green land. Mira felt a mix of excitement and fear. "Activate the decoy," she commanded. The decoy lit up and Mira watched as the Council ships appeared on the radar. They were coming. "They're falling for it!" Raj shouted, his voice filled with excitement. "We need to be ready." The Council ships closed in, their scanners focused on the false Earth. Mira could see the confusion on their screens as they began to investigate. "Now!" Mira shouted, activating the phase-shifting technology on their ships. In a flash, they became invisible. The Council ships moved closer, unaware of the trap. Mira's heart raced as she gave the signal. "Attack!" The team unleashed a barrage of energy blasts at the Council ships, hitting them with precision. The element of surprise worked in their favor, and the Council ships were thrown into chaos. Mira felt a rush of triumph. They were fighting back! The battle was fierce. Council ships retaliated, firing beams of energy in all directions. Mira and her team maneuvered their ships with skill, using their phase-shifting technology to dodge attacks. They were a well-oiled machine, fighting for their freedom. Mira's team pressed on, determined to show the Council they were not powerless. As the battle raged, Mira felt a sense of pride swell within her. They were no longer hiding. They were fighting for their home and their future. After a grueling fight, the tide began to turn. The Council ships, taken by surprise, started to retreat. Mira and her team pressed the advantage, pushing forward with every ounce of strength they had. As the last Council ship disappeared into the darkness of space, the team erupted into cheers. "We did it!" Raj shouted, his voice filled with excitement. "We fought back!" Mira smiled, her heart swelling with pride. "This is just the beginning," she said, looking at her team. "We've shown the galaxy what humans can do when we stand together. We are no longer stuck. We are free, and we will defend our home at all costs." As they returned to Earth, Mira looked out at the stars, feeling a sense of hope and determination. This was a new beginning for humanity. They had faced their fears and fought back against a powerful enemy. Together they had taken a stand, and now they were ready for whatever the galaxy had in store for them. Earth was not just a planet, it was their home, and they would protect it fiercely.